All right, so if you've ever written JavaScript, you've definitely had that moment, staring at your code, wondering, should this be var, let, or const? It's a classic headache for so many of us. But stick around because we are going to make the answer super, super simple today.
I mean, this is the big question, isn't it? It feels like you've got three different tools for the same job. But the truth is, in modern JavaScript, the choice is way clearer than you think. And honestly, getting this right is one of the quickest ways to make your code way better and more predictable. Believe it or not, we can actually boil down years of JavaScript history and all those heated debates into one single, straightforward rule you can start using like right now. And here it is. This is the most important takeaway. Number one, always start with const. Make it your default for everything. Number two, if and only if you know a variable's value has to change later on, then you switch it to let. And number three, just don't use var anymore. Seriously, that's it. That's the core of it all. But look, just following a rule blindly, that's not what makes you a great developer, right? To really level up, you got to understand the why behind it. So we're going to dive into the concepts of scope and immutability, because that's what really separates the good code from the great code. So let's start with a little trip back in time to the original keyword var. For the longest time, this was it. This was the only way we could declare variables. And its behavior is all about something called function scope. Here is a fantastic way to picture this. Imagine your entire function is just one big open room. When you declare a variable using var, it doesn't matter what corner you put it in, it's visible from absolutely everywhere else inside that room. And this diagram shows exactly why var can be so tricky. See how the var is declared inside that little if block? In most other programming languages, that variable would be trapped in there, but not with var. Because it's function scoped, it just kind of leaks out into the entire function. You can access it from anywhere and, well, that can lead to some really surprising bugs. So, to put a fine point on it, here's the formal definition. var just doesn't care about the curly braces you see in if statements or for loops. Its only boundary is the entire function it lives in, and that leaky behavior is exactly what modern JavaScript set out to fix. So, how'd they fix it? Well, say hello to the modern solution, let. When let came along, it was specifically designed to solve the problems of var by giving us a much cleaner, more intuitive idea, block scope. Okay, so if var lives in that big open room, a let variable lives inside a small, sealed box. And what's the box? It's any pair of curly braces. An if statement, a for loop, you name it. The second you step outside that box, poof, the variable's gone. And this visual just shows it perfectly. The variable is now totally trapped inside its box of curly braces. If you try to reach for it from the outside, you get an error. And here's the key. That error is not a bug, it's a feature. It means our code is predictable, it stops those leaky variable bugs right in their tracks. So here's the formal rule for it. Block scope means your variable is tightly contained. It lives and dies inside its block. This is what stops variables from accidentally spilling out and messing with other parts of your code. And notice, this rule applies to both let and our new favorite, const. So let's put them head to head. On the left, you've got var with that big, leaky function scope. On the right, you've got let with its nice, strict, contained block scope. I mean, it's pretty obvious which one is going to help you write cleaner, more reliable code. And that brings us to the real star of modern JavaScript, const. It has the exact same block scope as let, which is great, but it adds one more killer rule. The variable cannot be reassigned. That single rule makes it the safest choice you can make. Okay. Let's talk about this single biggest point of confusion with const, because this trips everybody up at first. People hear constant and think the value can never ever change. But there's a really important nuance when you're dealing with objects and arrays. So think of it like this. When you declare an object with const, you're basically creating a treasure chest and saying, this variable will always point to this specific chest. But it doesn't lock the chest itself. You are totally free to open it up, change the stuff inside, or even add new things. This, however, is what const prevents. You can't tell the variable to stop pointing at the original treasure chest and point to a completely new one instead. That reference is locked in. And that's an amazing safety feature because it stops you from accidentally wiping out your entire data structure. Whew.
Okay, we've talked about scope, we've talked about immutability. With all of that under our belts, let's circle right back to that simple rule from the beginning and see how it all clicks together in a new workflow. This table right here, this is your cheat sheet. You can see var is the total oddball with its function scope. Let and const, they share that nice, clean block scope. And the only real difference between them is reassignment. Let says yes, const says no. This is definitely a good one to screenshot for later.
And really, that's what it all comes down to. Choosing const by default isn't just about being trendy. It's a deliberate choice. You're making your code's intention crystal clear. You're telling the next person who reads it, even if that person is you 6 months from now, hey, this thing isn't supposed to change. And that just makes life so much easier. So I'll leave you with this to chew on. How does this simple choice go beyond just your own keyboard? When you write predictable, easy-to-understand code, you're not just helping yourself. You're making it easier for your whole team to collaborate, to find bugs, and to build amazing things way more efficiently. And that, right there, is the power of getting the small things right.